I call to order the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee meeting Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 at 3:33 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Valmer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Velazquez,
Present.
Vice Chair Browning,
Present.
Chairwoman Switzer.
Present.
3 present, you have quorum.
Thank you. Quorum being present, we will move to the approval of the minutes from Wednesday, June 12th, 2024.
I move that we approve the minutes from Wednesday, June 12th, 2024.
Second.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 9th, seconded by the Alderman from the 6th. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Valmer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Velazquez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Browning,
Aye.
Chairwoman Switzer.
Aye.
3 aye votes.
With that, we have approved the minutes of Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, and we will move on to item number 4 in the agenda, board bills for review. Beginning with item number 1, board bill number 25, Alderman Oldenburg, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Board Bill 25, if it is before us, would like to just ensure that it is, because we do have an amendment today.
It is before, as soon as I recognized you, it's before us,
Great.
and then I would be happy to get the amendment going. I would entertain a amendment to adopt, a motion to adopt amendment number 1 to
So
Board Bill
moved.
25.
Second, previous roll.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded, and there's been a call for previous roll. And with that, we've adopted amendment number 1 to Board Bill number 25. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you. This amendment adds 3 more humps to the 10 that are in Board Bill 25 that is previously discussed. Again, 13 humps scattered throughout the second ward. As you all know, these are important tools. They're not the end-all, be-all, or the silver bullets, but they are helpful in aiding traffic calming and slowing down vehicles, and they are demanded by residents. So in an effort to work with the traffic commissioner as well as the residents to ensure their proper placement, which I always do, this is the board bill before you, Board Bill 25.
Thank you, Alderman. And with that, I'll entertain the questions from the committee, unless there's any public testimony or any written comments. No. Okay, so we'll move on to questions. Alderman Velazquez.
No questions.
Alderman Browning.
No questions.
Okay, I also have no questions. Alderman Oldenburg, you're recognized to close on Board Bill number 25 as amended.
I have nothing forward, Madam Chairman. Thank you so much for the time.
Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion for a due pass recommendation of Board Bill number 25 as amended.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any
Whichever you want,
discussion?
Madam Chair.
Okay, was there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Okay.
Roll.
Geez, we have to figure it out here. With that, there's been a motion and a second and a call for previous roll, and we have passed Board Bill 25 as amended with a due pass recommendation. Alderman. We'll come back to my board bill, and we'll move to item number 3 on the agenda. Alderwoman Sanye, you are recognized on Board Bill number 53.
Hi, Madam Chairwoman, committee members. Thanks for having me before you. This bill is pretty simple, although it is my first time doing a bill like this. But there are just several places within the ward that currently exist, turning 5 of those places into 2-way stops throughout the ward. And they're listed in a bill, but mainly Arsenal at Ohio, Arsenal at Iowa, Louisiana at Winnebago, Sydney at Texas, and Victor at Ohio. Again, I do a traffic calming survey that I released we got elected in April. I think I put this out maybe in June or July, and then we leave it open for months, all the way up until the end of the year. And so people in different neighborhoods can put in whatever they would like traffic calming wise into this survey, whether turning something into a four-way stop, additional signage, speed hump request, all these things. They kind of compiles data for me because you select which neighborhood you're in, so I can quickly see the overlap of requests amongst people. When we knock doors for town halls, I'll have a little QR code with me and let people scan it and put it in, or social media is another good tool. And so they put in a series of requests, and then we meet with BPS and that process and streets and look at everything. And so these are the stops within the ward that I think makes sense to kind of move first as far as these things. And these are stops that were first requested by community, then approved by streets and BPS, and then also we cross-reference it with the accident reports. So I use that a lot to determine, where does it make sense to kind of prioritize things, because obviously we have limited resources, so you can't do it everywhere. And then we get this list that we're at.
Okay, thank you for that thorough explanation, and the process is really interesting. I think we could learn a lot from that, so thank you so much. I will turn it over to, unless there's any public comment or written comment on this bill, Board Bill 53. Thank you. With that, I will turn it over to members of the committee for questions. I did see Alderwoman Keys, I believe, join. Alderwoman Keys, any questions? Okay, Alderwoman Keys, any questions?
Hi, I'm so sorry for the delay in getting here. No, I do not have any questions.
Thank you. Alderwoman Velasquez?
No questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Browning?
No questions.
Also no questions. I appreciate the way that you've set up the process. It's very interesting, and I think a good thing to learn from, so I appreciate that a lot. With that, do you have anything to say in closing?
No, just thank you to the constituents for putting it in. And the part that I didn't say is I take it with me throughout the neighborhood meetings for a few months too, so that they can weigh in and additional changes could be made. And then sometimes I will enter things into the form as well for folks who might not have internet, but I definitely would recommend it, because I think that there's a lot of times constituents can feel as if an alder might favor a certain neighborhood or favor a certain area or a certain person over another. So creating this process just really helped to be able to point to, like, no, this is why this request was able to move forward as opposed to another one, and also the ability to track and compile data, which our city needs as much as it can get at.
Well, thank you, Alderwoman. And with that, I will entertain a motion for a due pass recommendation of Board Bill 53.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for previous roll.
Objection to that.
Oh, yep, thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Browning.
Aye.
Chairwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
4 aye votes.
Thank you, Alderwoman. See you next time. Okay, and with that, we'll move on to item number 2, my board bill number 51. And for this, I will turn it over to Vice Chair Browning to lead the meeting.
Okay, thank you. And when you are ready, Alderwoman Schweitzer, you are recognized on Board Bill number 51.
Thank you, Vice Chair Browning and members of the committee. This board bill is one we've discussed at length last session, and this session as well. We had a last week where we went through the changes to the bill as per last session, as well as the changes that this bill makes to the current ordinance on the books for our complete streets policy. During that committee meeting and before and after, some of the advocacy groups that have been working really hard on this legislation sent over some changes they'd like to see made in the bill in order to make it the strongest bill it can possibly be for our shared objective of improving the safety and use of our roads for all road users in the city of St. Louis. In parsing through the numerous suggestions that were made, we have identified 5 amendments that we believe get to these concerns and strengthen the bill. And I would like to go through them to adopt them if possible now, if that works for Mr. Vice Chair.
It does, and I would like to do these one at a time for clarity's sake. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adopt amendment number 1. Someone on the committee would have to make that motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. We'll second that. And with that is Alderwoman Schweitzer, would you like to tell us about the amendment? And then
Thank you.
we'll ask if anyone has any questions.
So amendment number one, this is to, Madam Clerk, can you read the text of amendment number one, please?
Amendment number 1 to Board Bill 51, sponsored by Alderwoman Schweitzer. To amend said Board Bill, page 8, line 22 as follows. Beginning on page 8, line 22, after the words Major Project Assessment, insert the following words and figures. And assessment on projects as identified pursuant to section 1.1 of this section.
Yes. So it's 1.I, point little I. It's a lot of sections. 1.1 and then I, or 1, little 1, all the ones. Thank you. So this amendment is getting to the desire that was expressed by our partners at the American Heart Association, that we want to make sure that the projects that are being planned on the corridors are part of the assessments provided to meet Complete Streets guidelines. In discussions with the administration about how to get at identifying the planning process and the plans that are, and the projects that are being planned in compliance with Complete Streets, we wanted to hearken back to that specific section to incorporate the Safety Action Plan and High Injury Street Network, which those two items are identifying specific corridors and action items for which streets and which areas need focus and need to have investments made in order to become safer and to improve our transportation networks. So we figured that that was the best way to make sure that we're showing that this is the planned and proposed projects as identified in this planning process, and is not encompassing, any random idea that someone might have that would have to fall under like a planned or proposed if we just change the words to planned or proposed instead of fixing onto the specific planning document as a guide. So that's what this amendment does, and I'm happy to take any questions on it.
Okay, and with that, does the committee have any items for discussion? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, would
No. I'm sorry.
Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Alderman Balmer. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velazquez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Browning.
Aye.
Chairwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
4 aye votes.
That we have passed amendment number 1 to Board Bill 51 as amended. Alderwoman Schweitzer, you are okay to proceed on amendment number 2.
Thank you. Do we need a motion to adopt amendment number 2?
That's true. I will entertain a motion to adopt amendment number 2.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer, you may proceed.
Thank you. And just to save the clerk, I'll summarize this one a little bit longer. One of the things that was given to us as a piece of feedback was that the assessment that will be provided by the committee was not clear enough about what rationale and considerations would be used whenever a Complete Streets principle was not adhered to in the planning process or in the project. So what this does is again, this is an American Heart Association recommended addition. This is to add in some specifics around what might be a reason that a Complete Streets principle is not implemented into a project. It adds some more guidelines about what should be considered or discussed if something, is a street that it's all road users are prohibited by law, something a specific highway corridor or something that may not necessarily apply here, but if for some reason there is a restriction to a specific use by law, then that's a reason that a complete streets plan might not have been taken into account. And then as well as routine maintenance that does not change the roadway geometry, emergency repairs, and then the cost of complying would substantially exceed the public value to be realized. And then as well as making sure that any assessment of the project is taking into account any related recommendations, including the transportation and mobility plan. So this just puts some more descriptive language around what sort of review assessment a project may receive in the city by this committee.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion by the committee on Amendment 2? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Never mind.
Alderman Balmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys,
Aye.
Alderwoman Velazquez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Browning,
Aye.
Chairwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
And with that, we have adopted Amendment number 2 to Board Bill 51 as amended. With that, I will entertain a motion to adopt Amendment number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Schweitzer, you may proceed.
Thank you. So this is a amendment that is working to incorporate feedback from both TrailNet as well as American Heart Association and around making sure that the Complete Streets approach does 2 things. One, that it is prioritizing enhancing access to destinations such as schools, parks, and various other key locations, as well as prioritizing Vision Zero goals in compliance with relevant provisions of the Transportation Mobility Plan, which include Safety Action Plan and resolutions passed by the Board of Aldermen pertaining to Vision Zero. So this is something to make sure that we're mentioning that policy priority of safety within the bill and within the Complete Streets approach.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, I'll just add that I am grateful to see Vision Zero language added in here. I know that's something advocates have asked for, and I think this is important that we share that with them. So with that, Madam Clerk, please call roll. Or if there's a call for previous roll.
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection, we have passed Amendment number 3 to Board Bill 51 as amended. I will now entertain a motion to adopt Amendment number 4.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you. One of the other pieces of feedback we received from TrailNet was that there should be more members from the Streets Committee on the Complete Streets Committee, more members from the Streets Department on the Complete Streets Committee. So we have taken that advice and changed it here in this amendment, if adopted, from 1 member of the committee being from the Streets Department and changing it to 2 members.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, again, I'll just add that I think this is great to include more experts in the field on this committee. And with that, is there any call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection, we have passed Amendment number 4 to Board Bill 51 as amended. And finally, I will entertain a motion to adopt number 5.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer, you are cleared to proceed.
Thank you. This language changes page 8, line 7, and changes the word consider. In terms of the recommendations the committee makes to the Capital Committee to prioritize what sort of recommendations they're making in terms of who they're prioritizing. That was recommended as a change from a few different groups, making sure that the Complete Streets Committee is not only when they're making recommendations to the Capital Committee, thinking about the various road users, vulnerable users, but instead prioritize, as well as prioritizing fulfilling mobility goals and implementing the city's transportation and mobility plan, prioritizing instead of considering the rate of fatalities and injuries as shown in the city's high injury network. So it's stronger language, and that was something in terms of the vulnerable populations. That was something that Transform 314 and the American Cancer Society, is that the right American Cancer Society? Oh gosh, I hope I'm not saying their name wrong. Transform 314, American Cancer Society, Smart Growth America, and American Heart Association all wanted to see stronger language around that prioritization of those groups. So that is this change here.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, I'll just say that this is another good amendment. I think language matters, and when we prioritize the most vulnerable among us, we create streets that work better for all of us. So thank you for considering that. And with that, is there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection, we have adopted amendment number 5 to Board Bill 51 as amended. And now we will proceed with discussion of Board Bill 51 as amended. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone's time going through the amendment and the patience this group has had to make sure that all the stakeholders for this bill are at the table. I think we've done a really good job of making sure that's happening, and I just really applaud everyone for their patience and for that work. The policy director from the mayor's office, the wonderful Casey Milberg, is here as well, and I would love to just yield a few moments of my time for her to speak and speak to the administration's backing of the bill and anything that else she wants to add, and then of course happy to take questions or any other way you'd like to move the meeting.
Absolutely. Director Milberg, you are welcome to come up and share with us your thoughts.
Good afternoon. For the record, Casey Milberg, Policy Director in Mayor Jones's office, and here to express Mayor Jones's support and gratitude for those who have worked on this legislation. As Alderwoman Schweitzer has said, this has been this work product before you right now as a result of so many conversations between so many different stakeholders. There's been a lot of intentionality, a lot of diving deep, a lot of nitty-gritty parsing of specific words to make sure that we get to a product that is going to be very intentional, is going to be something the city can build upon, is going to be something that is transparent, and is going to be something that is going to be ready to be implemented and can be implemented by our departments, and is something that positions the city to be more transparent in how it thinks about how to integrate all of our transportation and mobility processes in a way that supports all modalities and all users in the city, and also provides that that process can continue to evolve as policies in the city evolve, as the transportation and mobility plan gets finalized. This is going to put the city in such a great strategic position to really move in a more coordinated and more intentional. We do want to say thank you so much to Alderwoman Schweitzer for her persistence and her patience and her in coordinating all of this. Thank you also to Alderman Browning. I know that you've been very involved in this as well. We're grateful to the co-sponsors. I know Alders Velasquez, Alderwoman Keys. I believe Alderman Aldridge is also a co-sponsor of this. So we're very appreciative of all the support and interest in this important policy. And I would also be remiss to not thank the staff who've supported this as well. Christian Bishop, you've been an absolute champion in turning things very short timetables, and I know Caitlin Smith, you've been very involved as well. So Mayor Jones looks forward to this getting to her desk. She looks forward to signing it, and she thanks everyone here for the diligence and persistence in getting this to this point and moving it forward.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Alderwoman Schweitzer, do you have any additional comments?
Thank you very much, Director Milberg, for those words and for this being here today. I really appreciate it. That's all from me, and I look forward to hopefully moving this bill out of committee today, but I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, we'll go to the committee. Alderman Vollmer.
No questions.
Alderwoman Keys.
No questions, thank you.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
No questions, thank you.
I also have no questions, just compliments. Again, I just think this is a wonderful example of how a bill can be done. I really appreciate, I was there for a lot of those nitty-gritty conversations, including one in the kitchen earlier today. That's how involved we are. But it's been wonderful to watch this evolve. And as Director Milberg said, something that can make like a substantive change for the city it's going to be really neat to see this get signed, and I can't wait. So congratulations. I think we're ready to proceed on voting this out of committee today. With that, let's call, I'm just going to say, let's call roll. I want to do it.
Do we have any public comment?
Do we do it?
Excuse me, Vice Chair Browning. There is a letter of support from Kelly McGowan. She is the founder and executive director of Transform 314. It's in the drive.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, Kelly McGowan is one of the places we went to show this bill to the public and discuss with people, and that's great to see that there's support there. Do we have anybody else from the public that's here to testify before we vote?
No, we do not.
Okay, with that, please call roll.
Alderman Vollmer,
Aye, have we made a motion though?
You're right, we haven't. I'm sorry, I got so excited. I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 51 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
The do pass recommendation? Got that, okay. Please call roll.
Alderman Vollmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys,
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Browning,
Aye.
Chairwoman Switzer.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
Congratulations, Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you.
With that, I'll turn the chair back over to you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Browning, for championing that bill process with all those amendments. I appreciate it. We will move on. Resolutions for review. Have none. Committee, we have no committee discussions as well. We've acknowledged any written testimony, unless there's any other ones.
Only on 51 as amended.
Wonderful, thank you. Any announcements? Excuse members, all members were present. Well done, team. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any call for previous roll?
Previous roll?
Any objection to previous roll?
No objection.
No objection. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.